Hello and welcome to Keep Your Daydream. I'm Trish and this is Mark, and RV season is underway.
That's right, memories are being made one way or another.
And that is why we thought we would bring you 5 ways to get along in an RV. All right, we want you to know, we are not therapists.
No.
We are not your go-to person for family intervention. We have just only been in an RV with 3 teenagers for over a year, and we are all alive.
Yeah, and I would say that in and of itself qualifies us to share with you some ideas, some things that we've learned that might contribute to you as you're getting along with your family and the people you care about, the people who you want to make memories with in an RV.
Because isn't that what it's all about? So these are our little hacks to relationship goals.
Now, if you're new to our channel, we release a new video every single week as we travel across North America. Season 1 was in the United States from coast to coast, Season 2 down in Mexico, and now we're in the beautiful British Columbia, and it is absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. Stunning, some would say.
Yes, and we're staying at Oceanside RV Resort. You have a lot to look forward to as we travel up the West Coast. But
yes,
let's dive into this topic.
Let's get right in with numero uno.
Take it away.
On and off times of communication. Okay, have you ever felt like the moment you're backing the RV in and people are watching you is when your kids want to ask you life's most important questions?
Yeah.
Yes, that would be considered an off time. So we want to have these conversations with our family, our kids, our spouses, our partners. Hey, this is what's going to happen. We're about to pull in somewhere. This is what we need to focus on. These are our times to communicate, our on times. And then when things are actually happening, those are our off times.
And I think we've mentioned this in another video that it's important to recognize, to discuss, even if it's just a spouse or your entire family, hey, we're 5 minutes away from pulling into the RV park, and create a plan. So when we pull in, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and then we can start pulling bikes off, and then we can do certain things. Just to have a plan is super important.
Yes.
A lot of times, and we're at fault here, we'll just pull in, next thing you know we're there, and everybody has a different idea of what they should do first. And the train is off the tracks immediately. And so, you know, somebody might be wondering, you know, hey, where did everyone go? I haven't even backed in. It's just, it can unravel very quickly.
Yes. So that's kind of the broad brush. The finer things that you'll have to tweak for your own family is maybe some people are morning people, some people are night owls. We have a couple night owls in our family.
Yeah.
And talking about chores, schedules, planning is not really coffee time chat for them. And so, you know, you figure out what your family is like, how you like to communicate, a good time to chat about things when people are ready for it. Because what happens in a smaller space are that personalities and excitement and anger, things get heightened really quickly because you're in a tiny space. So if one person is in a bad mood, you'll be surprised how quickly everybody is in a bad mood.
Yeah.
So, you know, I have learned personally for my night owls not to like jump all over them, wake them up and be like, hey, we're going here, la 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 la, because then they kind of spiral and it takes like 2 hours to unwind out of that. So
when do you talk to them?
I like to talk to them after they've had a moment to wake up a little. You can start to see the smile, you can start to see the fog erase from their eyes, and then it's like, hey, how you doing? Make sure that we get all those things out, and then before I start putting in.
Well, and I guess on that note, there's another on time to communicate, and that is, like, let's say you weren't fully prepared to come into a site and it unraveled and everything went sideways, and there's things to discuss. Maybe wait a little bit while not everyone's so hot and wait until the next day, or maybe even wait until the next RV park where you can actually bring up, hey, this time, and not make a big deal out of it, not put a lot of blame and he said, she said type stuff.
Yes. Number 2.
Okay, number 2. Now, this is a pretty basic idea, but just because it's basic, I don't think it should be undervalued or maybe just assumed that you might already do it, and that is?
Use your manners. Be polite. I think most of our moms told us, be polite, whether they said it nicely or grabbed your little ear.
You will be polite.
Be polite. But it is important, just like Mark said, the tiniest things are usually the most important things. And those tiny things add up over time. So if you can be polite to one another, and remember that that's what you're here for, is to have a good time, to make memories together. Because like you joked about in the beginning, you're going to make memories one way or another.
That's right.
So
well, I think it's easy for, particularly within families and couples, to forget to say please and thank you.
There's so many variables happening when you are RVing. You have your family, you have the road, you have outsiders, you have all kinds of stuff. So if you put your little self in someone else's little shoes and you think, okay, maybe they didn't hear me, maybe they have a lot of things that they need to consider, because when you're backing in the rig, that's a lot.
I'm not listening.
That's a lot to happen. So we want to use visuals, we want to be making sure, but also just being polite. And one of the things that I've learned watching these kids be siblings with one another is there is not another person in the entire universe that knows their hot buttons quite as well as their brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah.
So if you know your spouse, brother, sister, anybody's hot buttons, let's try and walk around them. Let's make a big circle around them and
just punch them at home. But when you're RVing,
RVing,
you can stay clear.
Yes.
Okay, number 3, how to avoid yelling at each other. Now, we have these things right here. Okay? This is literally...
I wanted you to do the dishes. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't tell you how many couples I see backing into a site yelling at each other. Now, they might not be mad at each other, but when you're 53 feet long or 30 feet long or however long you are, and the engine's running, you pretty much need to yell in order for the other person to hear you. But the problem is when you start yelling at someone, the tone is misinterpreted. These things right here, which by the way, I'll link because they're a lifesaver, not only is it gonna keep your rig from getting, from backing into something, but you're not gonna have to yell. There's no reason to yell. You just say, come a little further, stop. You don't have to like bang on the thing, stop! I said stop! Well, I didn't see you! Well, I was waving my arms! I see this all the time.
All the time.
And I'm thinking, why are they doing that? They could just talk to each other through these things, okay?
These, yes.
All right, so this is a must. The next thing is you actually have to remember to like pull them off of the chargers before you come into an RV resort and use them. Okay, do we have any other tips to how to avoid yelling at each other?
This is the literal how not to yell at each other, but there's also other ways, like I was talking before with our hot buttons. Maybe take a few seconds to like chill out, maybe find different avenues. Here's one thing that we have figured out kind of in our RV is making sure that everyone kind of has their own little space, because when you're right next to each other all day long, maybe you just need like a little bit of a break, especially for siblings. You know, if they're traveling in tight quarters and then they're away, or maybe you're entertaining a bunch of people, sometimes people just need to get off and do their own thing. It's okay for someone to go for a walk by themselves. Hey, why don't you go ahead and take the bike down and go for a ride and explore and tell us where something is. Help your kids, or you know, you can suggest to your kids, hey, could you do me a favor and go find where the laundry is for me? Hey, I think they have popsicles in the front. Here's $1. You know what I mean? So that you can kind of break like the tension that we were talking about, because sometimes it's a long road. When you finally get to your destination, it's kind of exhausting. I mean, that's really the truth. It's sometimes the days getting where you want to go can be tiring.
Okay, number 4, be a cheerleader. And Trish is so great at doing this, but basically it's just recognizing the little things that everyone in your family does well, and not forgetting to just say, hey, you did a really good job at that. And don't take for granted some of the things that maybe people in your family are always good at. To recognize the fact that like, hey, I really appreciate that you're so good at doing that, or you go out of your way to just take the initiative, or whatever the case is. When you're in an RV, find the opportunities to basically tell each other that you appreciate each other. And I think a lot of the things we're sharing today are things that like we all know, but in an RV, it's important to remember to do it, because in a traditional home, when you're living together, sometimes it's easy to stop saying please and thank you. It's easy. I guess what Jim Rohn says, what's easy to do is easy not to do.
Yes. Yes. Well, and when we're in our home, we have space. We don't have to deal with conflicts immediately. And when you're, again, in the sardine can, you have to deal with things right away. So being a cheerleader, being excited for people, also recognizing what people's gifts are, right? Keep them in their gift zone. If you have a kid who loves to start the fire, get them to gather all the firewood and get the thing ready. Give people a leadership role and then be excited for them. Set them up for success so that they can show off. Because I think that's one of the coolest parts, is when your kids or your spouse gets to show off and be like, hey, I did that and I did it pretty well because that was my gift zone. So I don't know that I would send one of my kids that is good at one thing in the opposite direction. I try to keep them on that path so that we can lift them up.
Yeah. Okay, number 5, Trish.
Number 5, make RVing your safe place. Okay, this is all about celebrating each other, making memories together, doing new and exciting things. And I think sometimes we forget that our spouses, our kids are out there in the real world, and it can be prickly sometimes. It's hard to maintain like your happiness, your excitement. So when you go out and you're together with your family, this is a time for you to relax, for you to take the layers off, and for you to be vulnerable in a way. And you would expect that your family member would be kind of filling you up. So this is a time and a space for you guys to fill each other up.
I think it's easy too if you're working to take on kind of the personalities of people at your day job. And if people are sarcastic at the office or sarcastic at the shop or whatever the case is, that it's just kind of easy to take that humor, to take the sarcasm and to take the teasing that you might do with your peers and then start applying it to your family. And like Trish was saying, in a small space, everything's kind of amplified. Emotions are amplified, responses and reactions are amplified. So if you just say, make a conscious decision before you leave, hey, I'm gonna spend time with my family for these next 4 days or these next 4 weeks, whatever the case is, I'm just gonna make the decision to just be with them and engage with them and maybe leave sarcasm, teasing, and that type of stuff aside, I think it'll go a little smoother.
Yes, and then also recognizing what people enjoy and what they like, and maybe this is a time you've been saving a certain conversation to have with your son about something that they love to do. Hey, I know you wanted to join this. This is an article I found about it. Or, you know, promote your daughter in a certain way, or, you know, give accolades to your husband or your spouse or your partner, and just like really using that time to come together.
Well, that kind of goes back to what you said about the on and off times to communicate. So maybe using the entire trip as an on time to communicate certain things, which you do a really good job at. So I guess, you know, the other thing is kind of combining all of these together. Look at how the thing can unravel by simply not preparing on who's going to do what before you enter an RV site. Could end up in a stressful situation, and then not being grateful by saying pleases and thank yous kind of makes someone rub someone the wrong way. Then we're communicating something that really shouldn't be communicated at the wrong time, and then they were like, why are you even bringing this up right now? And you can see how like this great memory of RVing can turn into be like, I hate going with the family, it's ridiculous. So, you know, what's easy to do is easy not to do it. So just making these little simple little tweaks. And I think more than anything, it's just being aware that we're all going into a situation where everything's a little heightened. Heightened
and small. I think it's also important to remember that we're not perfect. I'm not perfect, Mark's not perfect. That's not why we want to be together. It's our imperfections, as corny as that sounds, that brings the funniest laughs, that brings, I mean, this guy entertains me all day long.
With mistakes.
Okay, so anyway, you don't love your mom or dad because they're perfect, you love them because they're them. And when we, you know, don't take that for granted and remind ourselves of why it is that we're hanging out together, we can set a path that's more prone for happiness, excitement, and better
And you
memories.
say this all the time, you even said it in this video, set each other up for success. And so you just think about that, how am I gonna set everything up for success in advance?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about some resources. Trish and I love to read, and I think one of the reasons we're even on this trip is because we do a fair amount of like reading and dive into certain books and whatnot. So there's a couple resources we have for you on this
We
topic.
don't want to scare you off when we say reading, because it's not just reading, right?
Yeah, I know, because mostly we just listen. I mean, come on,
a lot of listening.
We're doing videos, not blogging, right? So of course our books would be on audio. Anyhow, but one great resource for you is the 5 Love Languages.
Oh my gosh.
It's a great book for getting to know your family a little bit better.
They have it for teens, for kids, regular.
Yes, and another book?
Personality Plus. Oh my gosh, we read that book a long time ago. And it just has some really great insights to different types of personalities, and it helps you change your point of view. Just kind of see things the way they see things, and then you're like, oh, that's why they respond like that.
It reminds me of the quote, if you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things will change.
Yes.
And so a lot of times it's just a new perspective on something that will just have you'll have a completely different interpretation of why it's happening.
Yes.
We haven't gotten too like
philosophical
I
on
said
you.
we weren't therapists.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay, so, and then the last resource is just the Audible link. So KYD has an affiliate link with Audible, where basically Trish and I have been members for a long time of Audible's program. Where
Yeah,
we
the
get
renewable,
like
we get all these credits.
every month we get like 2 books a month.
Yes.
And so
You just go
basically
on,
we
you
just
pick
keep
'em.
we just keep listening and downloading, and through KYD there is a 30-day free trial to that program. Link is down there to check that out. So,
Yes.
anyway, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. We hope it added maybe just one idea to you to help you get along a little bit better in your RV.
And as always, please let us know down below in the comments, because we read each and every one of them. What do you guys do in your RV and on your trips to make them special, to you know, make them exciting, and to bring everybody together, because I love learning from you.
Okay, as always, we are glad you're here. We love sharing the adventure. You have so much to look forward to in season 3. It has been absolutely amazing.
West Coast has not disappointed.
No. And Oregon and Washington and British Columbia are absolutely delivering. It's crazy. So if you're new here, subscribe to the channel to join the fun, and we will see you this weekend for another episode of Keep Your Daydream.
Yay! Bye guys, have fun.